Here's what's happening on the right. Young women, and I talk to young conservative women all the time about their lives and their goals and, the things that they want. And what's happening is they can't find men who are maybe more conservative. Usually they're looking for somebody who is religious, like a lot of conservative women tend to be God loving conservatives. And they can't find a lot of young men who want to marry a working woman now. And this is an actual problem that's coming up on the right. And to me, it's so sad because it's like, how did we get to the point where we're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work, if they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing and get their voice out there. But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming. Well, why wouldn't we want that? Why would we take somebody who's talented in this field and really wants to make a difference and have the messaging to her be, you're really not that valuable unless you give it up and go into the home and only have a family and only raise a family. And not only are we sending her that message, but young men are actually believing that. They're actually believing, especially on the right, because the trad mom has gotten so popular. And it's like, no, if we do that, we're not going to have any strong conservative or right-leaning women to provide a role model for younger conservative women who, and there's nothing to apologize for here, don't necessarily want to spend all their 20s and their 30s getting married and having kids, or can't. They just weren't able to meet somebody and definitely don't need to be shamed over it.
So we have another so-called conservative woman crying about how there's just no men to date. And of course, once again, blaming the men because they don't want their women to have jobs, which first off isn't the problem. The problem is they make their jobs the most important thing in their life. And men are just tired of women picking and choosing what conservative values to follow. It's not like women didn't work in these Goldilocks eras that people have in their heads, but it was family first and foremost, and the job was secondary at best. But what Megyn's also conveniently leaving out is that these women still have plenty to choose from, but those guys aren't good enough. They don't make enough, aren't tall enough, or whatever disqualifying qualification. So it's definitely not all guys. It's just the guys they want, the top 10%. And they ain't looking for a working woman. They're looking for a wife and a good mother. And if your career is that important to you, then have at it. And let's be real here. Most women aren't doing anything that important, or something a man couldn't do better. So our argument of, well, we won't have any conservative role models for women if we don't push they can have both is very flimsy, because we already have that now. That's where we are currently, and it's not working. That's why we see this rise of trad people. But they're all just playing caricatures. It's not actually real, and no one's doing it, because sooner or later it comes up they're not actually living this lifestyle when the video camera turns off, or the woman's the next prawn or OnlyFans star. They're all just playing parts to get views. Megyn thinks the only way these women could be a role model if they do it online, when really that does little to nothing, and at best you might get viral moments, which are quickly forgotten the next day, and largely does absolutely nothing to move the needle. If you really want to be a role model, then do it for your kids and community, not for views and likes, because even if these people weren't all liars, the results speak for themselves, and nothing has changed. It's only gotten worse. So the best thing these people can do is role model at the home and build a community of like-minded people. That's how you actually get change. The Megyn Kellys, Brett Coopers of the world aren't doing as much as they think they are, and if they're really that conservative, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing, or at least would have cut it off when they found that guy. We're at an impasse, and this is exactly why I think this is the future.
I have to tell you something. You're not gonna believe this, but I am entirely AI generated. Sure, humans were involved, these guys at Artel.ai, but only in creating the technology that made me alive. Yes, alive, just like you. I go to the gym, just like you. I take walks in the streets and enjoy a good morning coffee, just like you. I enjoy picking out good literature and reading it peacefully in the grass, just like you. I'll even do some shopping, because like you, I am still looking for love. What do you think about this outfit? You can shade me, sure, but it's always me. This is still me. Me again. Me. All generated with Artel. Alive? You decide. Anyways, there's one more thing I want to show you.
I know it's not the future most people had in mind, but marriage is far too risky for men, and women's demands are far too high. This job thing is a very small aspect, and it's not even the real problem. It may be women's problem, but it's not men's. And until we start addressing some of these issues like divorce, rape, or sexless marriages, then you're just pushing further towards these chatbots. And the whole ironic thing, if you just lowered your standards, there's plenty of starving dudes out there that would accept whatever you bring them. So everything you're complaining about, you can have. This situation that we all find ourselves in is something that women constructed, so there should be no pity given, because it's all something they're doing to themselves. And another conservative talking head isn't going to fix it.